make. Do you know Sven? I don't think there is. It's not like a programming language.
He's stepping this and calling it the James Gold OP.
Jimmy Flat OP.
What's most fun?
So I am pretty sure though that it will only read, for example, it will when it wants to find the background video, it will go, or when it wants to find the background, it will go to the hashtag character thing and it's ended by a semicolon. So if you just put it down the nonsense line, I don't think the program will read it at all. So I don't actually think. I think you can do that. All right. So once you have this, you put all your files in a giant folder. You put the folder in. So can you go forward again? Forward. That's back. It's the forward button. So you find what everyone has Stepmania installed here, right? So you find what directory you have Stepmania installed in. You find the songs folder, and for example, then you have to make like another folder for certain packs, so it knows how to separate packs. So for example, if you wanted to like name a folder SM Workshop, and then in the SM Workshop folder, you would put your actual song folder. Okay? Cool. I'm trying to go as fast as possible, so let's keep on going. I was going to ask you to like try it out and go through the process of like doing stupid things like filling in the SM file, but we're all big kids in here, so like we can figure that out. Yeah, hopefully. Okay, syncing your file is a little more important, and so syncing your file basically means finding the BPM and offset. BPM, beats per minute, we should all know what that is. It's just how fast the song is. You can count the beats. And once you find BPM, you find the offset. So even if you have the correct BPM, Stepmania might not have the arrows on the actual downbeats of, it might not put the arrows on the actual downbeats of like the lines of the file. So you have to shift, you have to tell Stepmania how far to shift the file so that everything's actually exactly on the downbeat. I've seen files by new creators where they just forgot to set offset and all their notes are like random purple and light blue and like pink notes. And it's very strange.
In many cases, veteran Stepmania writers are just terrible.
Well, let's keep on going.
A lot of it's because a lot of songs aren't single BPM, which.
Right. So yeah, we're gonna talk. I'm gonna like put a disclaimer after that. Oh, by the way, I also want to make a disclaimer like before we get too far into this that I'm a keyboard writer. I pretty much only write for keyboard. I write a bit for pad, but I'm not very good at it yet. So everything I say, especially in the how to write files section, is pretty much applicable mostly to keyboard.
Spread, right?
What? Spread, yeah, I play spread. I use 2 fingers on each hand.
This is playing styles.
It's you can either use 4 fingers on one hand or 2 fingers on each hand. 2 fingers on each hand is probably a little easier and comfortable and fun to use. Anyway, go on. So I think everyone should like open up Stepmania right now and just go into the editor and take a look at how it looks, because we're going to be using the SM editor that's included with every Stepmania program. So if you have earphones, by the way, it's best to do that so like we don't annoy each other.
Right.
Right. So just open up the Stepmania program and go to edit sync songs. Hopefully you have some songs in there. If not, you can put in one of the blank files that I included with the CD.
Yeah, dog.
If one is missing earphones, I have an extra pair with me, so.
I have an extra pair of earphones too, so what else? But this is the basic. We're going to be using the inbuilt editor of Stepmania. It's good for if you want to make simple files, which honestly for like almost all anime music is enough. You don't have to do anything fancy, you just need like quarter notes and eighth notes and like very simple like timings. So this is a view of what the editor looks like. It has all your information on the right. This is the spot where the computer will say we were going to switch to the video. So the file that you're going to try to sync is Perfect Area Complete, the Bakuto test opening. Also a good show.
Watch it.
Yeah. So can you go for it? So when you actually put in steps, it'll look like this. Red steps are on the downbeat. Blue steps are on the half beats, and then like you have everything in between. You have like yellow. The next step would be yellow. You also have like purple, which is like 6th note, and You just figure it out. You push left and right. So you push 1, 2, 3, 4 to actually put in notes to the editor, and you push left and right to change the note type. So as you push right, the notes will get faster and faster. So you go from red to blue to purple to yellow to, and then I don't even remember the colors. There are a lot of colors. Forward again. There are also a lot of shortcuts. So if you need to like figure out what the shortcuts are, just push F1 and a screen of all the shortcuts will come out. So like if you're tinkering with your BPM and you need to like set it in game instead of like editing the SM file directly, F7 and F8 will change your BPM at any point. And so I'm not going to actually go through all of the commands. You can look at them by yourself in the actual files. So now we actually have to talk about how to find BPM. Most anime songs, because they're so simple, will have one BPM. They will not change BPM through the song, so it is pretty easy to find BPM. I will actually go further than to say like most anime songs are so simple that their BPM is actually a whole number, like 156.00. So if you're actually syncing a file and you're like, this looks like 149.98, round up. It's probably a good idea. So in terms of methods to find BPM, I do it old school. I do it by hand, because as I said, anime songs are a little simple, and you can do that. You can get away with that. But you can also, probably a more popular choice. Don't do what I do. Just like is using BPM analyzers like Mixmeister, which is also included in your CD. I think for PC and Mac. I don't think anyone in here even has a Mac, so I'm not even gonna care. Wait, you have a Mac. Sorry, Mac. No Linux though, so I'm not caring about the Linux people. So Mixmeister is very easy to use. You just drag and click the song into Mixmeister, and it pops out BPM. I don't use it too much, but I don't think Mixmeister deals with variable BPMs too much, does it? Does anybody know? Like,
yeah, it's not going to do very well.
Yeah. So if there are lots of songs that have variable BPM, so in the middle of the song it'll switch to like a slightly higher or slightly lower. Sometimes it's more noticeable. Sometimes it's very annoying to notice. You'll just notice when you're playing the file and you realize that your notes are going off sync.
It's better to do it by ear.
Yeah, that you actually sort of have to do by ear. And so you have to watch out for that, and that's very annoying. Especially since I just stepped a song where like it went from like 140 to 143 to 138 a bunch of times, and it was incredibly annoying. I don't even know why they did that. It doesn't even sound different in the song. Another thing is, this is also a little old school. If you go online and there are like tap for BPM programs, so you can play the song and then tap. And if you trust your rhythm, you can get a vague estimate of the BPM. So that's.
The longer you do it, the closer the accurate will be. So as long as you're in sync,
Yeah.
the should be able to do
Yeah.
this.
Except just be careful that also if you do it for too long and there's variable BPMs, that'll just screw it up. So just be careful of variable BPMs. But yeah, most of the time they're very noticeable when the BPM is changing. Next slide. So I'd like everyone to try to find the BPM of the song that's included in Let's Sync. It's the Bakuto test opening. Just very quickly, just drag it into Mixmeister for now. Don't do it by ear, unless you want to. I mean, I'd be pretty impressed. Yeah. Although, because I do it by ear, I've discovered a unique talent where I basically can, if someone taps out a BPM to me, I can get it within like 2 or 3 BPM because I know what anime songs are what BPMs. I just play the anime song in my head.
He knows BPM anime songs. Are we supposed to be doing something?
Yeah, like couple. It's not like 700. Like I know the Full Metal Panic Fufu opening is 100 exactly. So if you want to use that as a reference, like.
Everybody should base their BPM on that formula.
Yeah.
Tapping.
Of course. So I'm just trying to find the BPM and like someone tell me what the BPM is. Do you know what the BPM is? You just check. I think it is 89.5. Yeah. So it says just notice that. What? No. Wait. What is that? What is that? Oh no, it's perfect area complete. It's in, I want to say 65 to 96. Yeah. Perfect area, there you go. So this area. So what does that say, 183?
Yeah, 183.
Yeah, so what did you say, Pi? You said 90, 89? 89.5. Where does it say 170? Alright, so when I plugged it into Mixmeister, it gave me 91.5, I think. Is anybody else getting another BPM? Or is anybody else trying to get a BPM? And has gotten one? And would like to share?
Anyone?
Anyone? Come on guys, it's Dragon Play.
Can we just say time right?
You're not always right. Alright. So, okay, well, it should probably say 91.5 we're doing if you drag the file in. 91.5 is the BPM, and if you want to, I use 183 because the song is actually, if you listen, can you play like a few beats of the song?
Oh, here we go.
Just push Control P, man.
What the hell is he doing?
What? That's not the song. It's in Let's Sing. Not Let's Play or Let's Prepare. No, that's not the correct song. Okay, so I'm assuming if you put the correct song in, you should get 191.5 out. And I doubled that because can you play the song a little bit again? That beat is actually 190 or 183.
So many jumps.
That is
Sick background video.
That is 91.5. And you see, like, this is a fast song, so you want to actually put it on pace with the song, so you want to use 183 instead. What? The BPM is 183.
Keyboard
Yeah.
files.
So you want to sync it to the, yeah. If you used 91.5 on this, you would end up using a lot of like faster notes, like yellow notes and stuff. And you want to really stick to the fundamentals of like using
make
red
it go
and
faster.
more. So you want to sync it. If it's faster, you might want to multiply the Mixmeister BPM by 2. Yep. Cool. So that's the BPM. And once we find the BPM, go on. We have to find offset. Now, I know there are programs out there for finding offset, but there's a reason I don't really like to use them, and that's because different computers read BPM the same, but they might read offset differently. There's a different lag between different computers when you push the key and the computer actually reads the key. So just because you sync offset, like you found a nice program and you sync offset within like 2 nanoseconds of the correct value, you think, when somebody else plays it, it might actually be off. So it's actually not too necessary to do this incredibly accurately. Unless you're like playing on Justice or something. But
Justice.
no, yeah, it's not. Well, it's the connection between the keyboard and the mouse. Yeah. Right. So I do it by hand, but you can look for a program. I don't know. I'm not sure what program it is because I've always done it by hand. Okay.
I don't know either.
Google it. Cool. Okay. We have a suggestion of Deep Dream Studio, so like if you want to try that, yeah. Cool.
Alternative.
Yeah, as an alternative. Google it. Okay, next. Offset, I will like, we're a little running low on time, especially because like the beginning, we started a little bit late, so you guys are smart. You can find the offset. You guys are like super smart. Okay, let's go.
Super smart.
So, when you actually sometimes you actually might want to, after you are working on the file, edit the file directly, the SM file directly. So, for example, you might be in the middle of working a file and you might realize that you have a BPM wrong. And sometimes it's more comfortable to go into the SM file directly and there's a spot for BPM and you find the spot for BPM and you edit it there. If you do that and save the file, always remember to click reload from file when you're back in the editor, or else the Stepmania program won't actually load your changes in. That's just a thought that you really need to keep in mind every time you edit the SM file directly. Although a lot of people don't like to, I sort of do it a lot though. Okay, next. Another thing you need to do is the preview music. We're gonna skip this as well, but like the preview music is the small clip of like 10, 20-second music that people hear the first time when they're selecting your song from the selection screen. You'll notice in the SM file there are two lines for sample start and sample length, and those are the two lines that you need to use. So sample start tells the Stepmania program when to start the preview music, and the length is how long it plays the preview music. And you want to set this right, because if someone selects your file, there's just like, it's a silent part of the song for like 5 seconds, they're going to be very confused.
You most likely want to start at the chorus and have it going for like 80 to 22 seconds or something like this.
18 to 20 seconds from the chorus is a pretty good measure of where the preview music is to be.
And always make sure that you choose part of the song that everybody's going to recognize, especially in a published file. Because I've run into cases where I know the song that I listen to repeat, because I'm cycling through like an actual list. I listened to the preview and I couldn't recognize the song at all until I started reading everything.
Yeah.
So you don't want that to happen.
Yeah, you're writing for mostly, if you're writing anime files, they're going to be played by anime fans, and you want them to recognize the song. Yeah, of course.
Chorus were very, like, a lot of times, like, the beginning chorus is not as recognizable as all the really prominent choruses. So just pick one that's most recognizable.
We're gonna go through this really quickly. Okay, right. So we're actually, once you have sync down, you're actually ready to write your file and use the editor. Next. So I'm just gonna go very quickly through like my own like very basic thoughts about anime music. So what I feel, and please feel free to disagree with me, like raise your hand and like shout at me if you find this like bad. But what I feel is when I listen to an anime song, because they're for an opening, because they're really there to provide like a supplement to like the anime itself, there's a lot of emphasis on the melody, and there's a lot of like repetition and regular rhythms. So when you see like a lot of more technical DDR files being written, they're for like really like complicated hip hop songs and techno songs, and that's not anime music. So just keep that in mind. Like you're not writing for hip hop songs, so you don't need to like go in and be like, oh, I sort of heard like a decibel of like drums here, so I'm gonna step that, because like people aren't gonna hear that in the actual song, even though like if you listen closely enough, you do.
Well, I do agree anime music is great for Stepmania because they're really, I mean, they're fun to that.
Right.
But the complexity is not too much of a problem. As long as you hear distinct melodies, layering is very important.
Yeah, layering is a process where you go through a file, you basically write two major sounds, and you go back and you perhaps like fill in some blanks with like lesser noise. Is that like, yeah?
Basically, like when you hear a prominent drum beat, for example, you hear two crash cymbals, it's a little more prominent than other snare beats. You might want to put hands or quads there.
Right.
For complexity, another tip in pitch relevancy. I know there's a simple artist named Commissar, I think his name is. He's very distinct and detective on pitch relevancy because you got to feel for process patterns. I'm sure you can go into that.
Sure. I mean, I don't have time to go into it too much. I will say though that unlike most artists, I do not layer.
I don't layer at all, actually.
Yeah. My personal thought on the matter is when we listen to music, we listen to it in one shot. We don't listen to it and go, oh, here's the drums, and now we like process the beats that are secondary to the drums, and then we like process smaller beats. So my personal opinion is that like, if you want to step a file, people are going to be playing this file, they're going to be listening to the music, so you need to keep in mind how they're going to be listening to the music, and the way they process it might be a little different. It makes it a little counterintuitive that layering would actually
Do you
work.
agree to disagree? I think you're right.
Yeah, no, I agree to disagree. It's a way to make files.
A lot of it's second nature. I mean, a lot of new players might not probably notice that, but when you hear a song, when you hear like epic, big records.
Sure.
The part is way more like dramatic,
Sure.
rather than just one note. I mean, I do admit there is
I feel so pain from this.
exaggeration in there.
Right.
The jumps you can even in the
Charles
jumps
here.
are
Do you stream 2.0?
Sure.
Thinking of
Yeah.
somebody
So
who's attacking
layering
the
is
game.
something you could look up. But I'm not trying to go into like heavy stuff here because this is a 1.5 hour pattern that's intended for the game. So
17, 244, 16
yes.
for 32 measures and a 24 trill.
So the basic note composition, you have just basic single notes. So basic single notes, they're there. Like we all know what they are. And then when you actually start thinking about how you throw in double notes, which or jumps. So the important thing to notice is that like when you have doubles and singles, people are going to notice the doubles more. So if you have like, for example, less prominent sounds in the song, you want to maybe step them with singles and step the more noticeable things with doubles. Right. And then of course you can keep on going, you can use triple notes, you can use quads, anything you want. Just as you go up, the sounds, the notes become more noticeable. So just keep that in mind when you listen to the song, like what do you actually notice? Yeah, and then of course you have holds, next. Holds are these long, well we all know what holds are, so I'm not going to like patronize you, I like explaining what holds are. And they're, you can use them for prolonged sounds in the song. And just, what?
Sorry, but people notice me hitting 3 buttons.
Yeah, hitting 3 buttons at once.
Okay, so this starts to become, say, kind of impractical, or...
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier that I'm a keyboard author. I actually don't use triple notes in my files.
Hands are like ITG, I guess some ITG.
People do use hands, but like if you just, there are files out there where there's just like a lot of triple notes in, like that's obviously meant for keyboard. So so once you have a lot of triple notes, it becomes pretty like keyboardy.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
But
That's
for
funny shit.
people who are just starting to write files, I would recommend not really going into triples at first. If you want to explore the possibility later, then you know.
Obviously, bad anyways.
Yeah. And of course you have like things that I sort of like to call gimmicks because I really don't like using them. Yeah. Mines are things that like come up and you don't hit them. If you hit them, you get a penalty. And rolls are long sequences where like you basically have to continually push that button to keep it going. You can't hold it, you have to continually push it. But most people like, that means you can like get off beat and still make it work, and it's sort of that.
Well, like holds are used for like, let's say there's a very vocal anime song and she sings it, she holds that note for a while, that'd be like a hold, right?
Yeah.
There are like some songs where like it's so fast that note that you wouldn't want to put a whole jack in there, which would be the same repeated error. A roll would work a little better.
You could put a trill.
Yeah, I mean like those like ridiculous speed chord sounding.
Right. I mean, just the important part is like to take my advice with a grain of salt and just like step it how you like feel like the song sounds, and just not lose sight of that. I'm just giving like my own way.
So mine could be used like if you want somebody to actually run in place instead of just jump up and down at 2 buttons like it is.
So mine's prevent like button spamming. So if someone's like just there like, you know, I know some people who play like just like 2 people are on 2 steps and the other 2 people are on 2 steps, just jumping on it all the time, and that discourages that because you can actually get penalized by pushing wrong notes. That being said, I think like people like there's no reason to penalize it for that because like when you actually get into this file, when you actually get into the program, then like that becomes very unfun very quickly.
Well,
So you
it's
just,
all preference. I mean,
it's all preference.
Mines can be used to create certain patterns that normally wouldn't be created without them. Like when you create a certain pattern, especially for the index style 2 fingers, there are certain ways that you would have to get your finger off the button to avoid mine to create another kind of pattern. It's just the emphasis of it. When you get into like that advanced kind of stuff, it's a fun thing still. So.
Alright, next slide. So I mean, just a mention of like other things. I like streams in my steps. So like you have jackhammers where you have jacks where you have the same step repeated multiple times, and that forces the person to like really hit that key line. And, a similar thing, but like perhaps a little less strenuous on players' trills, which are just 2 keys. So and then you can just like combine these and
Dude, look at this chart. Dude, look at that crossover right there.
and then you can put like lots of stream up. These are called staircase streams because the notes are generally adjacent to each other, so they're easier to read. You can also put in more complex patterns if you want. I'm just making mention of this. You should when you first start, you really shouldn't worry too much about like complex, like, or like feedback delivery. And I actually suggest that when you first start, just listening to music instead. Like,
Also, start with single BPM songs.
yeah, don't start with like Toho music.
Piano.
That'd be like horrible. I said Toho song.
Toho music. Leave that to Spooty Biscuit. Fuck window.
Next thing.
Spooty Biscuit just broke into tears.
So yeah, this is just a breakdown there. There's actually like multiple ways to step a file. A lot of people like more technical based stepping styles. So like this gentleman was mentioning like layering earlier.
I don't use a lot of that, but because I'm part of some of the communities, I see
Right.
like that.
Yeah, a lot of people like to do that. They go into the music very deeply and analyze the notes and see like step to those notes based on their analysis. My way is a little more lighthearted. I like to just intuit and just get some sort of like intuition. Yeah, it's definitely just a stylistic choice. Good files can be made either way.
In my opinion, I think it's good to use a little bit of both because.
Oh no, you should not just like.
Yeah.
You should not use no rules at all, but you shouldn't like. This is not a binary thing. You should obviously be somewhere in between.
I mean, like the trill,
But
you would use a trill for all kinds of
right.
music.
But yeah, so just I think the bottom line, because I'm trying to raise here, is like intuition is good. Creativity, intuition, because we interact with the music in a very like complicated way. And it's intuitive to us, but it's difficult to articulate. So sometimes, you know, it might be easy to just like go with the gut feeling. Okay, next slide. So yeah, I also had like a few things of like what not to do, but like we're gonna skip that. There were just a few files that did really random things. Like I had a file that went through like 7 or 8 BPM switches throughout the file for absolutely no reason. So like it just went from like 150 to 150 to 150, like very randomly throughout the file. And so the bottom line to that is like players want to have fun when they're playing their file.
DDR uses a lot of X mods where the BPM was always changing. But
Sure.
a lot of Stepmania players, especially when it comes to spread songs, because they're step piano and at BPMs where X mods might not be so good to use. C mods just keep the BPM at a constant, so it's good to use a very relative BPM. When it comes to piano songs, C mods that keep those arrows at a constant beat per minute.
So yeah, there's definitely a consideration you have to take into account that like whether or not you're using what the speed mods are. Like for example, C mods will make everything go up at the same speed. So if you're using C mods, BPM changes. Like if they go from 150, it won't actually like mess you up. It won't register. Yeah, you'll be able to see it. It'll get absorbed in the spacing of the arrows instead of like the arrows changing sporadically. So, but I mean, I usually play with C mods. I play anime music mostly, so like anime music is pretty simple, so you can do that. Yeah, so we're gonna skip this. Just be true to yourself. I know that's a horrible cliche, but yeah, just and.
Remember, mute, be true to yourself.
If you're creating a file in the editor, you can't use C mods. You have to use X mods. Just to make sure you're...
No, I mean, if you're using the SM editor and you want to like preview the file in the SM editor.
Yeah, all you gotta do is there's a player option.
No, I know. The player option doesn't seem to allow C mods.
Oh wait, if they're in the SM editor, we're using right now.
I know. Oh, in the SM editor. Okay. Well, anyway, yeah, the SM editor. When you get to more complicated files, though, you want to actually play the files in the SM editor at a higher speed because like you want to space out the notes. Anyway, yeah, okay, and then like yeah, I think we're good. I think I really wanted this to end at around 1-ish, so we could give people time to actually write a file. But you'll notice like in the CD that you were all given that there's a large quantity, about 400 megs of blank files. So they don't have any graphics for them, but they are all synced, and they do all have the lyric files. So that's just sort of a starter pack. Sort of not too many like mainstream songs in there, but I don't really like mainstream, so that's okay. But yeah, so just we can spend like 5 minutes if you have any questions or you want to start like trying to make a file. Yeah. Sure. So just if you want, like, you can start fiddling around with the program. If anyone has any questions about how the program works, like, any of us would be happy to answer any questions.
Mind if I make some comments at all?
Okay.
Okay. The thing is, since I know people here don't have a lot of time to step, Stepmania is a fun game. I actually administrate Stepmania online for those who don't know.
Sure.
Shut down. It's a long story, but this is a very, very friendly community. So what you step now, no one at home might see it, but communities such as StepmaniaOnline.com, FlashRevolution.com, one that is very anime-based, been around for a while. I believe you submitted to me, Otaku's Dream.
Yeah.
They're a very friendly community. I mean, some people, like any other forum, might troll and whatnot, but to get some criticism and some views and people who step alike with you, Otaku'sDream.com, a lot of sites out there you can just research.
Right. So like sites that I like to use are well, I primarily operate out of YouTube, so I have a YouTube channel. But I also like to use the Mommy style is pretty good. Flash Revolution went down for a while and now it's back up. Stepmania.com actually has active forums.
They're posting on air in Japan.
So yeah, the question is like after you're a file, if you want to get it out there, there are plenty of ways for you to get it out there.
I would suggest they are a prominent part of the community. At this point,
Yeah.
Hey, I got a question. What do you think about AIJ?
What's AIJ?
Aaron in Japan.
Aaron in Japan?
Yeah.
What is that?
Huh? It's like the biggest ICG-based site right now.
Okay.
don't know about it.
I actually do not know about it, so I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'll
Shit on. Shit on.
to share with people that don't appreciate it don't have to. There are people there that appreciate it. Very friendly community.
Sure.
Even like a Vocaloid-based forum just started out, Vocalmania.
So yeah, it's actually pretty popular online, so there are plenty of ways for you to get your files out there.
Which one? So, no, because they're a site that just started out by, they made me administrator or whatever, but they're very tight in the community. And well, yeah, actually the people I saw grow up here who AAA, DDR, she's very part of the community. The thing is, a lot of the SM community has been dying down lately. It's peaked in like 2007.
Right. So like it's actually sort of sad.
Yeah.
Like they're less. It's less active. I mean like
Don't get me wrong, it can be revived with the right moves.
Sure. So I mean it's good if you want to like also if you're doing this you can like contribute to this community that really does a lot for yeah.
Is there a good section to go to for people who want to use it, who want to go back to the pad? I mean, one of the problems with the DDR games is that you've got separate discs. What are we on? Like 8, 9, 10 discs.
Right.
But if you want to put together something, let's say a workout mix, it cannot travel over several discs. Stepmania is theoretically the solution to that.
Stepmania has been freeware for a while. I have Stepmania on my computer. I administrate the online portion. Mind you, actually, which is a good thing because I brought that up. I do play your files. Stepmania Online is a very friendly community. If you know what you're doing, you can play your files with someone else on the server and they can critique it right in front of you while you're playing with them. It's the idea that like music gaming doesn't have to be expensive, and it's basically rhythm genre is dying out right now, but anime-based rhythm gaming is very fun. It's freeware, it's been around. Not one person has been paid to make Stepmania. What was that?
Save it for later.
Thank you, Bell. Basically, I mean, it's a lot of freeware program, very friendly community. It doesn't cost a dime.
Well, I guess my question. Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
I tried it once and I found a lag. There's sort of a lag factor between the pad and.
So you need to set the global offset of the program. So I can't remember where that is. Is it either in metrics or? But there are plenty of tutorials online to tell you that. And once you set that for a certain pad, that pad should work for the program.
Yeah, what you gotta do. It is global offset. It can be done in metrics, but when I guess the client here on the CD. It's kind of old. It's a fun client, but a lot of
the client I gave you on the CD is 3.9. It's a stable build, and it won't actually allow you to go online. But it's like it's good for just testing out yourself, and it's the basic build. So if you want to go online, you actually have to download it on 3.95 or 4. But which I also have, and they're also free to download online. So that's fine. Any other thoughts, comments? So we have to actually clear the room in 5 minutes, but if...
Can I get my camera back?
Right.
I'm sorry.
But if you guys have any more... What? Well, yeah, unfortunately we didn't have much time to actually make a file. So the PowerPoint obviously needs to be cut down to get, but if you have any questions, email me, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And otherwise, yeah, enjoy the rest of the really nice weather we somehow got.
It's gonna rain later.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't rain.